And welcome to a Lively Sports Cast. My name is Eric Lively, and I'm here to talk a little sports with you. I'm going to start off with something that's been in the news the last couple weeks, and then a whole bunch more of the news about this subject came up today specifically, and it's about Shohei Ohtani. Now, Shohei Ohtani is considered by many, many people, experts, everybody, to be the best player in all of baseball in the whole world. The man can, I guess he's 21, that's still a man. He can hit, he can field, he can run the bases, and he's also one of the top pitchers in the league when he's healthy. Right now, he's not pitching because he had, I think it was rotator cuff surgery or something anyway. He's shut down pitching this year because of a problem with his shoulder, I believe. But he's still doing the DH thing, so he'll go in and he's not fielding this year. He's just trying to rehab the arm and swinging the bat, which I guess doesn't bother the arm at all or doesn't make the damage any worse. But he became a free agent this last year. Played for the Anaheim Angels or the California Angels or Los Angeles Angels, or whatever you call them nowadays. They've changed their names several times. I think they're the LA Angels now. But anyway, played with Mike Trout, who before Ohtani became a part of the MLB, Mike Trout by many was considered the best baseball player and an automatic Hall of Fame vote getter, so to speak, should go in on the first ballot, that type of thing. But the thing about the Angels is they never make it to the playoffs, no matter what they do. I think 1 year was all they made to the playoffs with Trout before Ohtani was there, and they got swept. Boom, 3 games out, gone. So not only has Trout, who was considered the best ball player and an automatic Hall of Famer, not been able to ply his trade in the part of the MLB season that matters the most, which is the playoffs / World Series, Ohtani has been in the same boat since he became an Angel. So this last season, he decided to test the free agent market. Well, the new New York Yankees, who back in the 90s were the team everybody just thought would just try to buy championships. This is what they were doing. They weren't even doing anything with their minor league system, basically. They just kept throwing money out and bringing in guys. And oftentimes the guys they brought in were past their prime, but they were getting ungodly amounts of money. So people were like, it's not right to be buying championships. Although in today's world, that's kind of what happens. Teams try to buy championships. It doesn't matter if it's baseball. It could be basketball, football, hockey. It happens everywhere now. It's even happening in the MLS here in the States. The Miami team's is trying to buy a championship now too, with the guys they're bringing in and all the cash they're throwing around. So anyway, LA offered him a $700 million 10-year contract. The most anybody has ever been offered, and he accepted it, obviously. And that's not counting the money he gets from endorsements, because he is the most popular player possibly too in all of Major League Baseball because of his ties in Japan, for one. But he gets, from what I understand, $50 to $70 million a year in endorsements. Since he doesn't really talk English that much, if at all, although I think I'm understanding someone saying he does talk English a little bit. He has an interpreter, but a lot of the endorsements I believe he's probably getting would be Japanese-based because of his language. But this story happens to involve his interpreter. So his interpreter was considered possibly his best friend in the world. Ohtani just got married, so he didn't have a wife. Ohtani's only, I think, 21, I said. And his interpreter, his name is Ippei Mizuhara, has been helping him along the way with the Anaheim Angels and with the Dodgers now. Well, come to find out a couple of weeks back that he was stealing, supposedly, from Ohtani, and he had a problem with gambling. And at first we heard that the amount he stole was approximately in the range of $4.5 million. Now, to you and me, most of you listening, $4.5 million is a lot of freaking money, all right? So we're like, how the hell can someone take that much money and someone not know about it? How could Ohtani not know that $4.5 million was being taken from his own account, his own money? that he has, and he has a lot of it. And then I got to thinking, and I've talked to other guys about it. I've never had that much money in my life. Most of us never will. So we don't know what it's like to have 100 million plus, 200 million, a billion, whatever it is, dollars, like a lot of celebrities do, whether it's sports or otherwise. And so you probably, in my opinion, get people you think you can trust to handle your money for you. Ipe, from my understanding, was an old friend from back before the MLB days for Ohtani, and they'd known each other forever, and so he trusted him, like he would a family member or something. He was his best friend in the world, supposedly. I'm assuming now he's not, but okay. So Ipe, from what I understand, placed a bunch of bets with an illegal sports bookie out of the state of California, where sports gambling is against the law. 38 states in the U.S., it is not against the law, but it is in California. So if you live in California, you have to illegally place your bets, or go to a state where it's not illegal, place your bet there. The bookie that he was using at the time was being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And they've been doing it for like 2 years, from my understanding. And come to find out, that bookie has another, I guess, bookie or whatever, someone who has money who helps with all this, that the FBI is also investigating at the same time. So in the middle of all that, they found out that Ipe had stolen money and was placing a lot of bets. He had a gambling problem. So at first, my personal thoughts were, this sounds and smells similar to Barry Bonds and his trainer years ago, when supposedly Barry Bonds was using steroids and who knows what else to help bulk up, become the all-time home run hitter in the history of baseball. And then his trainer, I don't remember his name, it was Mark somebody or other, I think. His trainer got in trouble with the law and got sent to jail. His trainer never once gave up Barry Bonds, never said anything bad about him, never said Barry was anything, right? And he went to jail. I believe he's out now, but he went to jail for several years. And the thought was always by many people, myself included, was that Barry Bonds said, keep your mouth shut, don't say a word, and when you get out, I'll make it worth your while. And he may have, I don't know. That was the prevailing thought by me and plenty of people I knew. So that kind of thought of the same thing when it came to this situation. And then today, I hear a bunch of news that might have somewhat changed my thought process on the whole thing. So the FBI has basically cleared Ohtani of any wrongdoing. He had no idea what was going on at all, which I still find hard to believe. But from what they say, Ohtani doesn't give a crap about money, even though he's making millions and millions and millions of dollars. He pays other people to take care of his money for him, and he totally trusts them. This guy, Ipe, being one of them. Supposedly, Ipe talked Ohtani into setting up some type of personal account in a bank institution of some sort, and then went back in and changed a lot of the stuff that was set, so that when Ipe decided to start using that money for his gambling addiction, Ohtani wouldn't be getting anything like text messages saying, hey, was this you that took this much money out, blah, 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 which a lot of us have nowadays, our bank accounts. So that he had it all changed around, so the text messages were coming straight to himself, Ipe, and Ohtani had no idea what was going on with this account. In the process, he had, and I'll read this to make sure I get this correct, he placed over 19,000 wagers between December 2021 and January 2024, according to the Department of Justice. Over 19,000. And my understanding was he was betting on anything and everything. One of them I heard was he was betting on, I think it was UCLA soccer. I mean, come on. And according to a text message they found, that Ipe basically said, I know nothing about this, but hey, what the hell? Basically what it was. The average bet was about $12,800. Now, winning bets, it was $142 million. Losing bets was $182 million. Total losses of $40 million. Now, the Department of Justice says he never bet on baseball. Again, I'm skeptical, and skeptical because he was in the locker rooms during this time, talking to players, hearing about things that are going on in the locker rooms, knowing that so-and-so's got a sore shoulder or whatever it is, so he may not pitch tonight, so that would change the line on the bet for that team that night. Or so-and-so has a calf injury, and he's not going to play the field, he's only going to be a DH, or anything like that. Who knows? So I have a hard time believing that he didn't bet on baseball as well. But that's really neither here nor there. He may have bet on baseball, whatever. He's looking that he could face up to 30 years in prison. Supposedly, he is trying to cop a plea, plead guilty, bargain it down, all that fun stuff, which everybody does nowadays. I don't think he'll spend 30 years in prison. I mean, I doubt it. There's a lot of money involved, a lot of people who make a lot of money involved, and someone will find a way to get his ass out of this, at least the 30 years part. He may not get out scot-free, but with the history of the MLB and the way they frown on baseball betting, if they do actually find out he bet on baseball, much like Pete Rose, then this interpreter will be banned from baseball forever. Not that he plays, but he'd probably be banned from going to parks and everything, just like Pete Rose was. I still have to think, though, that there might be more to this than we're being told. Not saying Ohtani's at fault with anything, because it sounds to me, the more I hear, he's very naive when it comes to money matters. The kid's only 21 years old. So how many of us at 21 were very good with things financially? I know I wasn't. Hell, I wasn't very good at making sure I didn't party all night before I got up for work the next day. And usually I got up for work and still went, even though I would partied and slept 2.5 hours. So, but we'll see if there's more to come from this and what happens. But this is actually kind of a big thing, especially the amounts of money that we're hearing now. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe there's more to go to this and that. We'll find out where it goes. Also today, big news for any sports fan anyway. The man called O.J. Simpson passed away. I think they said he was 76. He had cancer, I believe, is what I heard. O.J. was famous for several reasons. The last one he was famous for was getting off and being acquitted for the murder of his wife. Or maybe it was his ex-wife at the time. I don't remember which. It's been a few years back now. And back then, when he had his trial, it was all on TV. That was before the internet became a thing like it is now, where anybody can get on no matter what, and immediately. That wasn't a thing back then. There was a famous chase scene, so to speak, almost like a movie. He had a white Ford Bronco being chased down a freeway in Los Angeles. They were bringing him in. Supposedly, he was under arrest, and he was trying to get away. Although it was stupid because he's driving down the road in Los Angeles in this white Ford Bronco with like 30 cop cars right behind him. How the hell does he think he's getting away? But anyway, he passed away. He got away with murder, in my opinion, as well. So it's too bad it worked out the way it did, but it did. So OJ's gone. He was considered at one point the best running back in football, or could be argued the best running back in football, college and pros, by the way. And he also co-hosted Monday Night Football back in the day with Howard Cosell. For those of you too young to know who this is or what that was, look it up on Google. I'm sure you can find clips of him with Howard Cosell back in the day. And one of the guys that was in there with him was Bruce Jenner, who's now not Bruce Jenner anymore. Again, look that up if you'd like. One more thing here real quick. There was a running back, or is a running back. He's suspended now, but he's still a running back, I guess, named Tybo Rogers for the Washington Huskies, who actually played in the last championship game, the college football playoff championship game that the Huskies got their asses kicked in. He didn't play a whole bunch, but he played. But he had been suspended before that, and then for some reason the suspension was lifted, and he played a little bit during the championship game. Not that it mattered because it didn't help Washington at all. But what I found funny about the whole thing, he was in trouble for supposedly he's being accused of rape and arrested on charges of rape and physical abuse or something of that nature. 2 different instances, by the way, too, not just one, twice, 2 different times women came forward. And he's now suspended from the program. What I find funny or strange or whatever about the whole thing is you've got reporters going to the Washington program talking to the coach. Why are you talking to the coach of the Huskies? The coach of the Huskies, who was there at the time, is now the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kalen DeBoer, he was the coach then. You got questions about this running back when he was suspended and then unsuspended and played in the championship? Talk to Kalen DeBoer. Don't talk to Jed Fish. Well, he doesn't know shit about it. And even when all he knows is what he heard from other people. So you're talking to the wrong guy. Reporters can be so stupid sometimes. It's like, what the hell? He was coaching in Arizona at the time, okay? So you're talking to the wrong guy, all right? You want to find out more about what went on, you can talk to Kalen DeBoer. He's in Alabama. And believe me when I tell you, he's not going to tell you anything more than Jed Fish said anyway, all right? He's not, all right? He wants to keep his job in Alabama, and there's some shit that might come up that it might make him lose his job, and he might even know that. That's why he ran for cover, all right? And the last thing I want to say is when you're watching these video casts that I do with myself and guests, and might be my son Tyler a lot more often than planned at first, is the teams that I am a fan of, and some of the teams I'm not a fan of, and then you'll find out why I talk about them more or not, or whatever, like the Huskies, for instance, why I talk about them the way I talk about them. NFL-wise, I'm a Dolphin fan, Miami Dolphin fan. I was a fan back in the 70s when they had the perfect team, for instance, and they had Larry Zonka and Don Shula and Bob Greasy and Paul Warfield and Jim Kick and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Mercury Morris. Became a fan of them back in the day. Stayed a fan forever. Had a lot of hard, lean years. They're finally halfway decent again with Tua and company. But the team I hate the most is the team that has dominated that division for the last almost 20 years, and that's the New England Patriots. Got to give them their props because they kept it going and they won championships. But fuck the Patriots, all right? And I'm being nice when I say that. Number 2, the NBA. The Portland Trail Blazers. I live in the area. I've been a Blazer fan ever since before Bill Walton was a Blazer. And they would win maybe 20 games a season like they did this year, maybe less than that, and they sucked. But they were my local team, and I would listen to them on the radio under my pillow when I went to bed. I was supposed to be sleeping. Mom sent me to bed when I was a little kid. So I've been a Blazer fan ever since, through thick and thin, will always be. Number 3, the Major League Baseball. Cincinnati Reds. Another one I became a fan of back in the 70s. Johnny Bench was the guy I became a fan of. Sparky Anderson, Joe Morgan, Pete Rose, George Foster, Dave Concepcion, again, et cetera, plenty to Tony Perez, Hall of Fame. I just loved Johnny Bench. In my opinion, he still is the best catcher ever to play the game. My opinion, you could probably come up with someone else you think is good, and you might be right, but this is my personal opinion. The teams I hate when it comes to MLB, I'm going to have to say it's the Cardinals now. They're in the same division as the Reds. Back years ago, divisions were different, and it was the Dodgers. But I have hated the Yankees forever, so I still hate the Yankees. But right now, the major hate for me would be on that side would be the St. Louis Cardinals. The MLS, I've not been a fan of the MLS forever, but the team I do follow is the local team, the Portland Timbers. And I don't follow them that much. My son Tyler does more. But I kind of keep up on what's going on. I don't hate anybody really. Maybe Seattle because they're close. I used to hate the Seattle Supersonics back when they were a team. They were the rivals of the Blazers. Now it's the Lakers I hate. And then last but not least, my very favorite sports team of all is the Oregon Ducks. College sports, no matter what college sports, no matter if it's men's or women's, I love the Oregon Ducks. Will love them forever to the day I die. Had season tickets for 20 plus years to their football games. I have gotten blackout drunk going to games or at parties, just having a good time, yelling and screaming. I would come into work sometimes. You couldn't hardly hear my voice. I had yelled at the game so much. And live and die, Oregon Ducks. All right, well, there'll be more to come. I'm glad you took a minute to listen to me. I appreciate it. Peace.